No Harry Potter movie is
And
good.
you're like, give me the Snyder Cut. Oh, sorry. Just walk in front of you here. Gonna put my popcorn down. Oh, sorry. Gotta put this here.
Universal needs to sue Sony.
Hey, I'm an idiot. I was fired from Fox. Let me go.
I'd like actually to see Venom just crush Spider-Man.
Hello everyone, so I'm back today, and so initially, this was going to be a video about roasting the stupid reviews from Thor, Love and Thunder, because that's what I like to do sometimes. But I was going through the reviews, and I was trying to find certain reviews that were better than, the fun ones to roast, because some of them are, not fun to roast. I realized something, and what I realized was this. Why the hell do we even care about these stupid reviews? Think about it, okay? These critics, these so-called critics who we prop up so much, right, as these experts in film and all this stuff, and I want to preface all of them things I'm going to say by, some of these critics I do actually know and I actually respect. But again, the vast majority of them, not really. And so I was looking, and it's like, okay, but let's look at a Vanity Fair critic, okay? Richard Larson. The studios has stumbled into what may be the worst film yet, in its long line of spectaculars, an erratic and fatally dull morass of limp jokes and aimless plotting. That's his review on Rotten Tomatoes of Thor, Love and Thunder. It's a rotten review. Okay? Now let's look at some of the other reviews he's written, okay? He wrote a review for Morbius, where he said Morbius does eventually become a cluttered slugfest, as all things must. But for much of its run, it is a stylish, intriguingly toned story of a man trying to thwart mortality. And it's a positive review. It's a tomato, whatever, good review, right? Then you look at the Batman, and he says the reality is that there is probably nothing truly novel to be done with Batman at this point. Try as Reeves and his co-screenwriter Peter Craig might, they can't squeeze much higher meaning blood out of a fatally depleted stone. It's obviously a negative review. Then you look at Moonfall, movie from 2022. If you're looking for a nice, empty-brained... this is a different guy, never mind. Ignore me. It's the wrong one for another point. Anyways, so notice what I just did there, right? I just pointed out a review for Morbius. I pointed out a review for Thor. Now, what do you notice about those two reviews? Now, obviously, you can say, oh, well, Morbius is not as good of a movie as Thor, just, in terms of entertainment value. And you would probably be right. Now, at the same time, you could also say you could also argue it's not. But this is the thing. We say critics are there for the sake of argument and for the sake of criticizing and critiquing a movie to tell us if it's a good movie or not, right? That's kind of what the idea is. The idea is, is this a good movie? And critics are supposed to tell us, yes, it's a good movie, or no, it's not a good movie. The problem here is that we're not actually getting that from these critics. These critics aren't telling us, is this a well-made movie? What they're telling us is Thor is a movie. When it's a Thor movie, it's great. When it's a Minions movie, it's obnoxious. Like, come on. You're expecting me to believe that this is the critical, someone who's approved on Rotten Tomatoes as a critic in their analysis of the movie? And then on top of that, we're supposed to actually, care about what these people think? Why do we do that? So the other interesting part of this is a different kind of, is a little bit different, okay? So I put a poll on my Instagram, KhalilJamal03, if you want to follow it. And I asked a very simple question. Do you look at a movie's Rotten Tomatoes score? 75% said yes. 25% said no. I have not asked a follow-up question as to why, but I'm just going to take a guess here and say it's because people want to know if a movie's going to be good. But why do we care? And so then what I wanted to do is I wanted to say, okay, well, let's take a look at it like this. How do you get approved to be a Rotten Tomatoes critic? So I got the list the thing from the Rotten Tomatoes site. I'm going to read it to you now. Who are the Tomato Meter approved critics, ? Tomato Meter approved critics come from all across the U.S. and the world. They publish on a variety of platforms. Among them, you'll find podcasters, newspaper and magazine writers, bloggers, and YouTubers. Reviewers from Tomato Meter approved critics from the trusted Tomato Meter score for movies and TV shows. Their reviews embody several key values, insight, and dedication among them, and meet set eligibility guidelines to see our full list of blah, 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 blah. Okay. So I'll just explain to you what they said. I'll highlight a few points again, which are their reviews embody several key values, insight, and dedication among them, okay? This is the thing. That's not really that true. I mean, the biggest thing is just, and again, based on their eligibility criteria, a lot of it is just, do people care what you think? And then, okay, cool, you're good enough. And this is the problem, right? I think this is the problem we have, which is a lot of times, especially now, you see a lot of things shifting, right? Where people are basically, you see these people who used to be writers on what you consider reputable platforms. And what they did was they wrote. Now, what do? They write to be controversial. A lot of these people, they hate superhero movies. They do. That's just the reality. But yet, they're still considered reputable because they hate it. Like, that's the thing. Like, a lot of people, like, if I'm going to a movie, for example, okay? Now, I'm not someone that picky when it comes to movies. I'll watch a bunch of dumb, stupid movies. Trust me. I've seen a lot of dumb, stupid movies. But at the same time, I enjoy dumb, stupid movies. Now, some people don't. I understand that completely. But I do. So why do we give these people credit? This is, again, the question I'm coming back to, which is, like, why do we give them, these are critics, we should believe their opinion more? Like, what is the difference between a critic saying something and some random audience member on Rotten Tomatoes saying something? If anything, I feel like the random audience member, for the most part, is probably better suited to give me an opinion because I don't, I take it with as much of a grain of salt as I would I take even a little less than someone I know telling me something about a movie, right? But this is the problem, and I think the biggest thing is, like, why are we even giving people this ability to influence our decisions on movies, and why do we think this analyzing of movies matters? Does it matter? Like, at the end of the day, if someone tells you a movie's bad, maybe you won't go watch it. If you're one of the 75% at least of the people, and if you think a movie's bad, you're not going to go watch it. So, if you're not going to go watch a movie that's bad, but why are you letting them tell you what's bad? You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make any sense. And I was getting annoyed when I was kind of going through these reviews because it's like a lot of them are they're not giving analysis. This is not analysis. This is just random words that are put together to make sentences. And it's like you're just making sentences. And again, I don't know how many people actually read reviews or they look at the score. Now let's talk about the score for a second. Just, it's on a little bit of a side tangent here. The Rotten Tomatoes score is not even an accurate measure of, like, what critics liked. No. It is literally just, are they 50% or more? Do they think, do they give the movie a 50%, a passing grade, or higher? If you give it a 50%, you're given the same weight in the Rotten Tomatoes score algorithm as if you gave it 100%. So people who loved the movie, not really, matter. Doesn't matter. All you have to do think it was good enough. You could get 100% Rotten Tomatoes if everyone who watches your movie thinks it was like a 51%. That's it. That's the bar for Rotten Tomatoes. Do you think the movie's a 51%? You don't have to. No one has to love your movie if no one hates it. You can get 100% of Rotten Tomatoes. Is that possible? And it also leads to kind of the question of, well, why don't more movies get these percentages on Rotten Tomatoes? Especially if the bar is that low. Well, again, it's because these critics should not be allowed to judge movies as the exclusive measure. Yes, okay. You know what? If you think you want to read a critic review and you read the review and you decide, you can make your own critical decision, right? But I think a lot of people don't do that. And I think that kind of comes down to media literacy as well in terms of just understanding and being able to analyze and understand what things mean. Like a lot of people, you ask them, well, what's a Rotten Tomato score? They're going to say is the percentage of people who, the average score amongst people. That's not true. It's just a score among certain people, right? Or it's like above 50%. Like, did you find it passable to amazing? If you get a 0% Rotten Tomatoes if everyone thinks it's 0. But like it even comes back to like, let's look at the Emoji Movie, right? And I know this is a historically bad one in a sense, right? And I'm just gonna pull up the Emoji Movie. I'm gonna pull up the Emoji Movie Rotten Tomato score because there's something interesting I want to show you here, and I think it's I think definitely curious. So it's at a 6% currently on Rotten Tomatoes. Obviously, it was notorious because it was the first movie to ever have a 0% for like or not first movie, but like it was 0% for a long time, and people it's one of the few movies. So now we're gonna do something. We're just gonna see how long it takes me to find a positive review of this movie. Here I found one. Okay, what a fine, funny, family-friendly film the Emoji Movie is, from Jim Shembri of 3AW. This is a good review. I'm gonna tell you now. This positive review is a good one. And by the way, his actual score for this movie is a 3 out of 5, not a 5 out of 5. He's not saying by putting in a Rotten Tomato positive is that it's a 5 out of 5 movie. No. He said a 3 out of 5 movie because it's a flawed movie. I've seen the Emoji Movie twice. Don't ask why. It's better you just don't ask. But it's a good movie in terms of what it is. Look, not every movie is going to be the greatest movie of all time. Some movies are just kids' movies. Kids' movies make bank. That's just the reality of the situation. Like, if you go back and you look at every time an animated kids' movie comes out, it always makes bank. Because kids always want... The demand for movies for kids is huge. Right? There's a reason Pixar does so well. And you look at this and it's like, that's exactly what it is. That's what the Emoji Movie is. At the end of the day, it's just a fine, funny, family-friendly film. It's not a bad movie by any extent. At least, not a non-entertaining movie. Right? But then you look and you're like, at Alex Dupino of Trespass, okay, who gave it a rotten review and said, sad to look at and joyless to watch. There is nothing on offer here for anyone but the least demanding child. Well, unless you're a child, I don't know if that's true. I don't know if you could say that's true, right? But we're going to still take that review and say, oh my God, this is the truth of the movie. Now look, is the Emoji Movie a movie everyone's going to love? No. It's a very specific audience. But if you're not part of that audience, you should really not be telling other people what to think of the movie. Right? Or you look at this one. Okay, this is an even better one. The Emoji Movie certainly ain't getting a positive review from me, but it never made me actually angry. Now, what did this guy give this movie? 2.5 out of 5. Okay? Now, and this is Graham Tuckett from stuff.co.nz. Okay? Now, you look at the positive review, right? That was a 3 out of 5. Now, look at the negative review. That was a 2.5 out of 5. The difference in their opinions was 0.5, yet one of them was a rotten review, which will count negatively toward the Rotten Tomato score, and one of them was a positive review. The difference in their opinion was 0.5. They both basically said the same thing. The only difference is one worded as, this is a fine, fun movie for families. And the other one said, it was joyless, but I never got angry. One thought it was average, got a negative review. One thought it was positive, got a positive review. And at the end of the day, if everyone just said the exact same thing, said everyone got a 2.5 at a time. But they don't. Now let's look at another one, actually. Adam Fresco of flicks.co.nz. He wrote, 80-plus minutes of excruciating mental torture. That's a lot of descriptive words. That's interesting. And he gave it a 1 out of 5, by the way, just in case you're curious. So, you're telling me is you didn't enjoy the movie. That's what I'm getting from this. I'm getting the excruciating mental torture means, I didn't really love it. Now, let's look at this. Let's look at something, okay? We're doing a little bit of experiment. Do we think that this man, Adam Fresco, who said it was excruciating mental torture, if he is someone who you would expect to be the target audience of this movie. We're about to find out. Okay? Who's ready for this? This is going to be crazy. This was a crazy kind of discovery right here. Adam Fresco, journalist. I think that would probably give me the guy. Here we go. Found him. Oh. He's an adult. I can't find his actual age. Sadly. Maybe I can. Hold on. Nope. That's just sharing. I don't need that. Okay, yeah, I can't find his actual age. But I can tell you he's an adult because he writes and stuff. So, is he the part of the critical review audience? No. Is he someone who does? What we really should be doing there? And look, again, the Emoji Movie is not the greatest movie of all time. I'm not saying that, right? What I am saying is, why do we give these people platforms? What do they contribute that the random audience member doesn't? Now, there are problems with audience scores. Review bombing is one of those. For example, and actually, I went and I did this, and I'll probably do more of a proper analysis on the effects of critic scores on movies at some point. But, you look at a movie like Captain Marvel. That made $153 million opening weekend domestically. It had a 79% critic score and a 45% audience score. So, the audience score is also not a catch-all metric. Did you know that? Did you know there's no real way to tell me if I'm going to enjoy a movie? Did you know that? It's actually a fact. The fact is, the science actually says that there's no method which is flawless in determining if I'm going to enjoy a movie besides me going and watching that movie and determining if I enjoy it. That's it. That's the only metric that should really matter. Now, obviously, I understand. There's so many movies, right? And it's like, what on earth do I watch? I don't even think it has to be that deep. Honestly, I'm going to tell you right now. You know what you should do? If you think that this is the way you decide, I'll tell you what you do. Literally just, if you think a movie looks interesting, you watch a trailer and you're like, hey, this looks good. Go watch the movie. If it doesn't, don't do it. Don't watch something because these people on this site tell you it's good. Or because the score is high. The score means nothing. If you really want, okay, I'll be honest with you. There are some better metrics than others. You know what one good metric is? Which we can go to right now? It's Cinema Score. Cinema Score is a very good metric, and I do really enjoy that metric as a way to tell me if a movie's good. Now, you know what Cinema Score is? And Cinema Score gave Thor Love and Thunder a B+. Now, Cinema Score is basically, it's like live audience tracking. So you can't get trolls who haven't seen the movie. It's basically, they say is Cinema Score has been polling moviegoers at major movie releases on opening night to collect demographic information to calculate a distinctive Cinema Score grade. Right, so you have people walk out of a theater, and that's we're doing a series soon about something like this. So, anyways, you as people walk out of a theater on opening night, they basically have people around in the U.S. saying, "Did you like this movie or not?" And then they give an answer, and then that's how a score is created. That's probably one of the better metrics in order to do it, and I always like Cinema Score. And typically, at the end of the day, Cinema Scores skew positively because if you're watching a movie on opening night, there's you're probably gonna like it more. That's just the reality of the situation. Like if you're going to watch, if you're willing to go and watch something, especially a big movie opening night, you probably like it. So there is still bias in that as well. But I personally enjoyed this one a lot more, and I think it's probably one of the better ones, because it also just kind of it doesn't make people think about it, because that's the other problem. And I hate in analyzing movies, which is kind of ironic in a sense, but at the same time it isn't. I hate analyzing movies. I think that it's stupid. I think I can tell you, okay, I enjoyed this movie, but I don't like going deeper than that, because honestly, I don't think my analysis actually matters in any way. Like, it doesn't really matter, I I'm not going to care. Like, if I don't notice something when I'm watching it and it doesn't bug me, I'm not going to say, well, there was that one moment at 22 minutes and 35 seconds where the CGI looked a little bit wonky. No, I don't care. Not really. If it doesn't bug me, yeah, if it happens throughout the movie or if there's like something noticeably terrible, I'm going to be annoyed by it. But like, for the most part, I don't care. If it's a fun movie, like Thor, I've said multiple times, Thor Love and Thunder is just a fun movie. It isn't deeper than that. It doesn't have to be deeper than that. It can just be an enjoyable movie. And the other part of it, I think, also has to do with critics' expectations. Like, oh, well, critics are expected to not call a Marvel movie good because it's a superhero movie, right? Or whatever the case may be. Or we expect Marvel movies to be at this tier, so if they're just fun, they can't be good. But it's like, look, and again, my personal preference. If you looked at a movie like Batman vs. Superman, and you looked at a movie like, let's look at a lower tier, like Iron Man 2, right? Iron Man 2 not a great movie. No one's going to say it is. It's more fun to watch, in my opinion, than Batman vs. Superman. Do you know why? Because it's just entertaining. It's just Batman vs. Superman slow and long, right? And I think you can like a movie or dislike a movie. I just think that this idea, and I think this just really annoys me, this idea that we give these stupid critics who really don't do anything but give their own opinion on a movie, which is no different than, some random person walking out of a movie giving their opinion on a movie, right? And I don't know why we hold these people's stupid opinions because they use a lot of adjectives to such a high bar of like, should I watch a movie or not? Don't watch a movie because someone else tells you, yeah, it's good. Or, yeah, don't watch a movie because someone says, yeah, it's bad. Now, okay, of course. If you if you have a friend who watched a movie and you ask them, that's very different because they also understand you, right? That's the other thing. You're looking at people who, like, when I give people recommendations for movies, right? I always tell them, like, I know who they are, right? And when I give my friend, obviously, because I know my friends. So if I'm giving them recommendations, I'm like, yeah, I know what you like, and so I can tell you if this is going to be a good movie. Like, if I go see, like, Thor, right? I know exactly who I know who's going to like it. I also know who I know who's not going to like it. And I can typically tell beforehand if they're going to like it or not. Because I just know, obviously I know these people. Critics don't know you. Critics don't know you, and typically speaking, and I'm going to be honest here, critics are like these very arrogant and, whatever, they believe they're better than everybody else. And they shouldn't be the ones defining what you watch. And I think it's stupid that we give them so much kind of credibility and so many people use their opinions as a way to influence what kind of movies they like to watch. And I think it's just stupid. And I really just think we need to end all of this discourse to our critics and critic scores. And we all know they're stupid, and let's just stop. Anyways, that's the end of this rant. So let me know your thought down below. What do you think about critic scores if you made it this far? And it's a 23-minute video. Sorry about that. I have a lot to say on this matter, clearly. And so, yeah, let me know what you think down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share your thoughts, follow us on social media. I have a new Instagram at Jamal03. That's the one. And that's the new Instagram and Twitter. And you can also find the channel at comicboys_, and other stuff exists. Oh yeah, watch our interviews too. They're really good. We have Hollywood and Canada series. We talk to directors and actors and visual effects people. And see you next time. Bye.